With Spider-Man 2 only months away, I've been itching to play it. That is until the release date really dawned on me, and with my smooth 8 brain being the way it is, I just couldn't wait that long. I had to relieve that itch, so just like a meth addict, I wanted it now. So I played the next best thing, Spider-Man PS4, only this time with a little twist. Feeling inspired by Sense's bravery, I just couldn't help myself, and decided to do the equivalent of taking my ass, spreading it open, and fisting it, seeing if I too can beat Spider-Man PS4 without taking damage. I know this makes me seem like the god of gaming, but in reality, I'm not Ninja. So this was no easy task, and just to add to the relentless torture, I was playing on the hardest difficulty, Ultimate. This gives the enemies more health, less time for me to dodge attacks, and I do less damage to my enemies. So just like a porn star, my enemies will now have the ability to fondle my balls in the silliest, most goofiest ways possible. On top of that, if I take any damage at all, even if the amount is as little as my cock and balls, I have to restart from the last checkpoint. Being the god at gaming that I am, making it in Fist Tower was as easy as breaking through this window, but it is unfortunately here where I come across my first problem. Yes, this is a mandatory spanking, and I will not be counting it because you know why. When I unlocked my finisher, I knew it was over for my enemies. Finally being able to defeat them with one cockslap to the face and one spreading of the cheeks was like getting a PS5 during COVID times. It was just amazing. 9 more prolapsed arseholes later, I was finally face to face with Fisk's office. Going into Fisk's office, I was more confident than ever. But unfortunately, that confidence didn't last long. And if you are sensitive to violence, please look away or click off the video now, because the beating that this man did to my mental stability was immeasurable. Words cannot describe the levels of insanity I was facing. This man was moving at light speeds, punching me as hard as a Souls boss, using the power of pressing the circle button to dodge, and whatever the web button was, I defeated Fisk and sent him to jail. With Fisk out of the way, I get a call from Otto, reminding me that I have an orgy to attend to. Realizing that we can't miss something like that, we rush over to the lab. Unfortunately, when I walk in, I see that Otto was lying, but thankfully it didn't take too long for karma to kick in. After that disaster of an experiment, I went and talked to Yuri. She told me about some broken Oscorp towers. I didn't really care all that much, so I went and beat up some innocent people and shilled an NFT project to a homeless lady. Feeling insecure about my 3 chest hairs showing, I went back to the lab and made myself a new suit. With the Tentacle Man's help, I made the advanced suit. With the new suit finally finished, it was time to do some Peter Parker shenanigans. First getting a call from Martin Lee talking about a party for Aunt May. Arriving at Feast, I talked to Martin. He asked if I can do some Loki level deception and distract May while he sets up the party. And being the deception devil that I am, I can't say no to something like that. Trying my damnedest to complete the job, I almost failed several times, but thankfully I completed the job. Just like all fun times, all boring times have to come to an end too, and it was time to finally return to being Spider-Man. To help Yuri out with a potential break-in, I head over to a warehouse owned by Fisk. With the help of some conveniently placed vents and beams, I potentially suffocate these goons in my webs. Making my way through the vents, I take out 2 conveniently blind guards and find something. It is here where Insomniac commits the equivalent of a cardinal sin and makes me play as MJ. I would much rather watch Morbius 3 times in a row than have to play another one of MJ's stealth missions. These missions are part of the reason why I almost didn't do this challenge, or just don't play the game as often as I want to anymore. They are just that fucking boring. Completing the stealth mission, I hit the ground, surrounded by multiple goons. But thankfully, I keep up with my daily doses of G Fuel. That means I was able to complete this section with only 4 resets. Being the hard worker that I am, Insomniac decided to grace me with a cameo by the legend himself, Stan Lee. Alongside Stan Lee is a surprise cameo by the yellow-suited baddie known as Shocker. This mission was one of the best missions in the game, a glorified chase scene. Nothing can compete with the occasional pressing of the triangle button, and just who can forget about the Elden Ring level dodging. This mission was so iconic that even Breaking Bad would shamelessly steal a shot from the scene 5 years prior. Even though I fought valiantly to defeat Shocker, he still managed to escape from prison. So with the wise words of Ninja himself, I fought even harder to defeat Shocker. No matter how many times he knocked me down, I got back up and fought. I knew I could not let down my Lord and Savior Tyler Ninja Fortnite Blevins.
Do not bully people. The fuck you say to me, you little shit?
Thank you, Ninja. I will never forget those wise words. But even with the wise words of Ninja, it still took me 13 resets to beat Shocker. This was mainly due to my lack of sight and completely disregarding the Spidey sense. Alongside that was my complete inability to dodge a predictable move. With the only way to be able to beat Shocker was trapping him under a metal beam. With all that done, it was time to make my way over to a Fisk warehouse. Before I could enter the warehouse, I fight some goons. Having to reset 7 times due to my lack of being good at the game, I finally entered the warehouse, accompanied by the GOAT himself, Jefferson Davis. With the fine art of wall hacks and teamwork, Davis and I finally find Fisk's secret vault. Down in the vault, we find some archived photos from Norman's OnlyFans, a true sight to behold. Going out back, we see some demons trying to steal the photos, and because I want the photos more than them, I have to get them back. Fighting like my life depends on it, I knew I just couldn't give up, and with my superior fighting skills and Davis's dead shot aim, it only took 5 resets to take them down. Just adding to how much of a goat Davis is, he puts his own life on the line to help save Spider-Man, just showing how much of a true hero he really is. This next section was like taking candy from a baby. I somehow managed to struggle harder on Wilson Fisk than I did here. My fighting skills in this game are just as consistent with the CW's Flash, managing to clear this whole section in only 3 resets. With a helicopter on the loose and a crane falling out of the sky, I managed to save the crane, only with 1 reset. Going up to the helicopter, I webbed it up and the people inside of it. Not before destroying it and sending it onto a collision course with the fucking ground. But before it could hit the ground, I catch it, and just barely saving the people of New York somehow. To celebrate the bravery of Jefferson Davis, Osborn holds a rally to award him with a medal, not before taking a massive L, that is. It's been 3 years since I first played this game, and this scene still holds so much weight. This was just not a W in my books, and unfortunately we lost Davis as he tries to push the bomber away to save everyone, but we also have to play as Miles in yet another sneak mission. The only reason this one is good is because he's a cool character. Entering into the next section, I just have to warn you, this part is just not for the faint of heart. If you are not good at watching people get fisted and thrown around, then please look away, because these goons were no joke. Just further cementing the butt plug in my ass and the joke about my inconsistent gaming skills, I had to reset 12 times just to be able to beat them. And to just add fuel to the fire, Sable is introduced. The bane of my existence. The sole reason I almost didn't do this challenge. Making a pit stop at Feast, I find out that Martin Lee is the butt plug in my anus causing me all these problems. Searching his secret hideout, I try to leave, and just like someone caught with their pants down, I am caught by Lee. After talking with Lee and Aunt May for a while, Lee excuses himself to go drive that butt plug deeper, but not before making it blatantly obvious that he knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Hearing that the demons are also after Osborn's secret OnlyFans pictures, I had to get on it. Plying my way through the waves of enemies, trying my damnedest to beat these enemies as fast as possible. And even after all my best efforts, it still took me 12 tries to get to his office. Almost being able to retrieve the OnlyFans files for myself, we get ambushed by more of Martin Lee's goons. Just barely being able to make it out of that titty fuck and to just rub it into our faces, Sable comes and takes him away from us. Scouring around the internet for hours, and searching secret facilities, looking for another doctor that may have Norman's OnlyFans, I am led to a party that one Dr. Delaney is attending. Forcing my way inside, blasting through my foes like they are nothing, I unfortunately couldn't get to Dr. Delaney before Martin made him game end himself. What I am about to show you is not for the untrained eye, nor the mentally weak. It is more of a blink it and you miss it type clip. During the cutscene to the next mission, I encountered my most formidable foe, a visual glitch. Something that not even the gods themselves could even probably beat. It is a force to be reckoned with. It even took Dr. Morgan Michaels away from me. Going after Michaels, I find myself on top of a truck, fighting demons, constantly getting my ass handed to me on a silver platter. But nothing could have ever prepared me for this next part. The clusterfuck of all missions. It was a miracle I even made it out alive. Although not my most resets in a mission, but still my most agonizing moment. These people were shadow people from the Shadow Realm, and it was like they were trying to take me down to the Shadow Realm with them, and I was not about to let them. 43 resets later, and I was getting my affairs in order. I was preparing for the game to game end me personally. But I just somehow managed to make it out alive. Just not without 3 broken fucking controllers. Finally bringing the truck to a halt, in the least destructive way, I might add. Sable comes and gives me a lecture. Something about in all her years of sabling, she has never seen anyone so annoying. I don't know, I didn't care. Holy fucking shit. Sable, calm down. Don't worry, I will listen to you now. Even though I hate MJ missions, this is definitely one of the better ones, and that is mainly due to the fact that you can call Peter to kidnap people, and it was this power of friendship that I made it through and walloped their demon asses as Spider-Man. before going after Martin Lee. This boss fight with Martin Lee is one of the easiest boss fights, mainly due to the fact that he has easily telegraphed attacks, but my dumbass somehow managed to make it look like an Elden Ring level fucking boss. Being completely incompetent at this game is just my special skill. Removing that special skill from my suit, I finally learned how to play the game, and defeated Martin Lee. Checking back in with Otto, I see that he's completed his work on his tentacle fetish. But this doesn't come without some side effects, and just like a baby, it makes him have tantrums, causing spurts of baby raging. I convince him to disable the tentacles for now, and because he sees Norman on the TV, that doesn't last long. Thinking things couldn't get any worse than this, the maximum security prison had a massive breakout, with almost all the prisoners being loose and causing havoc on the prison yard. And it was up to my deformed ass to try and get things back in order. Because Insomniac Spider-Man is just the best, he pulls a helicopter by himself, launching at it and taking out the prisoners driving it. Flying away, the raft is hit, releasing all of Peter's main villains. That includes Electro, Rhino, Scorpion, Mr. Negative, Vulture, and the most heart-wrenching of them all, Dr. Octavius. Now with all 6 of them together, this forms the Sinister Six. And just like an Elden Ring boss, they beat my hemorrhoid-filled ass to a pulp. It turns out Otto has been planning this all along, trying to get revenge on Norman for screwing him over and stealing his work. He does this by releasing the stinkiest, most goofiest virus known to man, the Devil's Breath virus. Because Aunt May wants to feel young again, she tries this new virus to fit in with the young'uns. With imminent failure on the horizon, it seems that the only choice is to fight the Sinister Six. Starting off this battle with both Electro and Vulture at the same time, it took the power of both strategy and knowing how to actually dodge on this game to be able to beat them, giving these to a stern talking to within only 9 resets. Taking those two on like a double dildo really took it out of Peter, so one lengthy rest later, I was ready to take on the next double dildo, Rhino and Scorpion. The boss fight with Rhino and Scorpion is probably the most forgettable fight in the game in my opinion, with nothing of substance to the fight at all. Dodge as Rhino runs at you, then pull the crate down on him with a quick barrage of spam square attacks. Same thing with Scorpion, dodge as he throws poison at you, then shoot him with webs, followed by another spamming barrage of square buttons. When writing this, I realized that this boss fight is exactly the same as Electro and Vulture, but what made that boss fight more exciting in my opinion was the in-air combat, and also having to swing constantly just to be able to stay airborne, to be able to not fall to the ground and possibly be exposed, which makes it a miracle that I was even able to stay awake long enough to beat them. To celebrate the feats that were once thought impossible, I am blessed with yet another fucking MJ mission. Conveniently coming across Norman's secret lab, I find the true location of his OnlyFans photos. It just so happens to turn out that the butt plug himself, Martin Lee, is there as well, threatening Norman for the password to the OnlyFans files. Watching this unfold, I knew I couldn't sit back and let anyone else get away with Norman's OnlyFans files, but me. And just like real men, we fought over them. With nothing to lose, we fight like wild hogs. Lee even summons things from the Shadow Realm to fight me, but I would not let them drag me down. With the power of all the fistings I've had to endure because of this man, and just like Vibranium, I released all that pent up energy back at Lee, banishing him to the Shadow Realm. And speaking of banished, Dr. Octavius shows up, giving me a little taste of the powers of his tentacles and for what is to come. Because of Doc's beating, I take a moment to evaluate my situation. I realize that the Doc is just too powerful for me to fight right now. And thinking that I can't do anything about it, I go to the lab to cook up a new suit, just like how Mr. White himself would cook up a new batch of meth. After a cool building montage, I now have the anti-tentacle man suit. And because of this new suit, I engage into the fight of the century, the showdown between two beautiful men. For the first stage of the boss fight, I heavily relied on throwing rocks, like I do my own feces, and webbing up his tentacles so he can't move. After 27 resets into this masterpiece of a fight, we were on the side of a building, sorting out our problems. Probably the coolest place to have a final boss fight. Finishing this challenge was no easy feat, taking several fistings, a multitude of prolapses, and an unholy amount of tentacles in the ass, 397 of them to be exact. But to answer the question from the beginning of the video, yes, I do have the ability to beat Spider-Man PS4 without taking damage. But unfortunately, there is no happy ending here. Aunt May gets game ended by the Devil's Breath virus. Rest in peace.